See my baby son and themselves. I'm about to make a video, so they're gonna get rowdy. Sarah, welcome to my video for this week. It's Sunday, so it's time to do a little catching up, and then I'm going to do the Authortube Newbie Tag. So let's get rolling. All right, first things first, my progress this week. I am on now on page 85. The next chapter starts on page 97. So I'm hoping to get that done. I hope to get more of that done before now. I hope to get page 96 today, to page 96 today, but that obviously didn't happen. The half-price bookstore across town was going out of business, so all of their books were on sale for $1 or less. So I took my stepdaughter, we went over there, we bought some books, and then we went to Five Below so that I could get a new phone case because my old phone case broke. So but the new phone case doesn't fit on my rig, so I have to take my phone out of the case to be able to do my videos, because I do my videos on my phone right now. Unfortunately, I also just upgraded my OS on my phone, and I have a Samsung, so it's the Android OS, and the new Android OS is probably the worst OS I've ever dealt with ever. And I had XP, and that was horrible. So, I'm not quite sure why it's so bad, but it is awful. It randomly locks me out of my own phone for long periods of time. It suddenly can't read my fingerprints, even though I've had fingerprint identification on it for months and never had a problem. All of a sudden, it'll lock me out because it says that it's not my fingerprints, but I haven't switched hands, so not quite sure what it thinks I am doing. So yeah, that's pretty obnoxious. So enough bitching about my Samsung. If anyone else has upgraded, you can tell me below if you think it's awful too. Also, they took away my light app. So now I have to go download a new light app so I don't just have a light. And this closet behind me, which is where all of our office supplies and stuff are, doesn't have a light in it. So I can't actually look in that closet until I download a light app, and that's pretty annoying. So, all right, so let's go ahead and get into this tag. I know a lot of other people have done this. No one's tagged me. I have like 12 subscribers, so of course no one's tagged me. But I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I don't think I have anyone to tag because everyone I watch has already done it. But obviously if you're new, go ahead and do it yourself. That'd be great. The more Authortube people there are, the better. The idea of making friends through this Authortube community is really exciting to me. So, all right, so let's get rolling. Number one. How did you find out about Authortube? Technically, I guess I found out about it yesterday. I knew there was a community of writers, and I knew that it was relatively small, but that they all seem to kind of know each other. Obviously, I haven't been doing this for very long, so I don't know many of them. But yesterday, I was kind of looking around to see, like, how I could find more writer YouTubers, and I came across the Authortube thing, so I didn't realize there was a community at all. So that's kind of neat. I just joined the community on Facebook, and I'm doing the newbie tag now, so I'm hoping that that will, you know, kind of bring some other people in. What genres do you write in? I like dark things, I like scary things, so no matter what genre I were to write in, I would always write darker things. Typically I write horror, but, you know, I mean, I also just write other things that take place in like a kind of darker kind of setting. So sometimes it's not strictly horror, but it typically has a darker kind of leaning. What is your preferred writing tense, point of view, and category of story? Past tense, third person, and adult. I have a mouth like a sailor, and I can sit down and say, I'm going to write this book for children, and it says fuck like 3 words in. I cannot control myself. I can't stop myself. I write for adults. I swear too much. Are you a plotter, a pantser, or a plantser? I have said before, and I will say it again, I hate the word pantser. I do not plan anything I do. I sit down and I write, and the words come out, and then I edit it. That's how I do it. So I guess most people call me a pantser. I just find that to be a horrible word, and I don't like it. Are you self-published, published, or yet to be published? I'm self-published. However, I'm kind of published through my husband's publishing company. He's been publishing for a decade plus. He does predominantly gaming books and like tabletop gaming. So he writes some for the Dungeons Masters Guild on Drive-Thru RPG. He does some of his own games. That's the company I essentially published through. He does my covers, and he also does my layout because he already does those things. So, yeah, that's as close to the answer to that question as I can come. That was kind of the answer to the next one. What publishing company, literary agent, or printing company are you represented by or use? If not yet published, what is your dream publishing house or literary agency? I like the way I'm doing things. I get to write what I love. I get to put out what I want to put out. I don't have to put anything out if I'm not comfortable with it. So I really like that. I also am in control of when things go on sale, and things like that, which is very nice. What Authortube related videos can we expect to find on your channel? Tips, tricks, and my progress. I do a lot of progress updates. I do a weekly video, which primarily focuses on my progress updates at this point. I may do more in-depth videos down the road, but I am still pretty new. I've only been putting up videos for a few months now, but I have managed to maintain my schedule already, so I'm pretty proud of that. And I think more ideas will come as I interact with more people and the community becomes more interactive. When did you start writing? I don't remember. I know I used to when I was a little kid. There was a cupboard under my stairs that had like this far back area that you could go back into, and it's hard to see from the door being open. My parents still live in the house, so I can still like look at the place. But I put a little table in there and I was doing my work. I don't know what I was doing in there. I was probably writing stories, but I don't remember that very clearly. However, in middle school, I did write a comic about sniffing the agar in science class, the stuff that you use in a petri dish to take a culture. Apparently you're really not supposed to sniff that stuff. Well, I decided that that made you a superhero if you did, and that's why I didn't want you to sniff it. So I wrote a story about that. That's probably the first story I ever wrote, which is number 9. What is the first story you ever wrote? Probably the agar one is the first one that I wrote that was like a story. I'm sure I wrote other things, but like a full story, that was probably the first one. What authors have inspired you to your writing the most? Let's see. I wrote down answers because you get in front of the camera and like your brain shuts off. So I've got like Stephen King. Stephen King is my favorite author. I understand that a lot of people really don't like him. I don't want to argue about it, quite frankly. If you can't find something redeeming out of On Writing alone, I don't know what to say. So, but it is probably my favorite mainstream book anyway. I enjoy it a great deal. I read it roughly every year. It's about time again. I try to start reading it about the time the book starts, because the book starts beginning of summer. So I try to do that, but obviously, you know, I have a real life, so that doesn't always work out. Dennis Johnson. I read Jesus' Son in college, and it kind of changed my life. I had never read a collection of stories that took place in the same world and were all interactive, but didn't actually have anything to do with each other. And I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed the fact that it was dark without being horror. And that was a nice change. I feel like a lot of times people just assume that if it's going to be dark, it has to be horror. And I don't think that that's as true as people like to think. Tim O'Brien. The Things They Carried is one of the most beautiful books I've ever read in my life. I love it so much. So I find a lot of inspiration from that book specifically. And then John Steinbeck. Of Mice and Men is just a beautiful book. I periodically will like listen to it on YouTube. It's nice because it's such a short book that you can listen to it on a relatively short trip. So it's a good book to listen to in the car. Do you schedule your writing sessions or simply get to writing whenever you can find time? I try to write daily. There are days that I know I can't write. For instance, on Tuesdays I play D&D after work, so I get home from work at 5, and then I have about an hour and a half before I play D&D for the night. So most nights I don't really get much writing done because I still have to make dinner, and then I have to like tend to the cats and do cat boxes and you know, all of the things that you have to do because you're a grown-up, and it's awful. So I try to get things done every day. When I don't, you know, I don't let myself get too upset about it. But I do schedule writing time with CJ, who is in my opening and was in a video with me earlier. So sometimes we will schedule writing time like when she's in town. And we have recently started doing video hangouts. So we might start writing that way. I'm looking forward to that. Sounds like that would be a lot of fun. Do you type on a computer, typewriter, write out by hand, or use a blend of those, and where do you write in general? I usually write exactly where you're looking at. However, realistically, I just moved here, so I haven't ever written anything here. I've edited here, but I've never written anything here. I sit at my desk and I type. I type. However, when I'm editing, I edit on paper. So I'm not sure why that is. I feel much more comfortable editing on paper. I miss less when I edit on paper, so I always edit on paper. And what are you most looking forward to now that you're part of Authortube? Just the community, being able to interact with other people, have other people identify with the struggles that writers have, just being able to talk to other people who might be having the same kinds of problems at the same times is really nice. But yeah, a lot of this is here for me, for my writing, for my space outness. You know, I mean, I have various little toys and stuff back here that I adore and that keep me focused and help me kind of in the right mind frame for my writing. So but yeah, so I think that does it for this week. Go ahead and if you haven't already, like this video, subscribe. There will be a subscribe link right here, and there will be a new video floating around somewhere, another video. So if you haven't seen all my videos, go ahead and click on that and check that out. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. In all of those places, I'm Wordsmith Sarah. There will be links below as well. I also just started a Patreon, so if you'd like to support me through my Patreon, as little as $1 a month, I will have a link to that below as well. And you can obviously share that anywhere you would like to. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I'd love to talk with people, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye! My foot itches.